Good evening, everybody. This is Tinsley Myrick, and this is a special combined episode of the Salty podcast and the Gettin Beachy podcast. I'm going to put this up here and read a little introduction. I felt it fitting to combine this topic because this will pertain to both sailors, boaters, as well as Orange Beach, Gulf Shores area, and real estate enthusiasts. Tonight, we're diving into the fascinating history and exciting future of Bear Point Marina, now known as Bear Point Harbor in Orange Beach, Alabama. We'll explore the marina's rich past and its journey through various improvements and upgrades. We'll discuss the remarkable recovery from Hurricane Sally in September 2020. The conversation will blend historical insights along with modern advancements. It's perfect for both sailing enthusiasts and real estate investors. Now let's meet our guests who will share their unique perspectives and experiences. Marcus Kruk giving us the historical perspective, and Craig Reaves, the current owner, giving us present and future. Without further ado, we are now, thank you very much, guys, Marcus and Craig. How are you tonight?
Good, good. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, great. So, Marcus, okay, I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm excited to talk to both of you, but let's start with you. So, your dad bought Bear Point Marina 1968. Now, I think from my calculations, you were 4.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I can't ask you what you remember of that day, probably, but why don't you tell us what you heard about when your dad bought the marina in 1968?
Yeah. So, give you a little background. My dad was a Navy helicopter pilot, and I was actually born in Toms River, New Jersey, near Lakehurst Naval Air Station. And Dad was got out of Vietnam, got stationed at NAS in Pensacola, and he was on a hop somewhere, and he had the copy of the Wall Street Journal, and he saw Bear Point Marina for sale in that journal. And as soon as he landed, he made the calls and set up the meeting, and actually wound up purchasing the marina. My grandmother had to mortgage her house to get him the money which I think was $120,000 when he bought the marina. And he bought it, and of course he was stationed at NAS. My mother was a dental hygienist, so of course we came down and moved into the marina. We moved in upstairs where the bar is now. There was an apartment up there, and like we were talking a little while ago, we were up there for about 4 or 5 years before we moved into a different house behind. I say behind the marina, actually behind the parking lot back there. Stayed there for a year, and then we built a house. Down over on Washington Boulevard. But it was a dream come true. It was coming here as a little boy. I do remember it. I remember I was so scared I would fall through the cracks in the pier.
Can I just ask you a question? I've got the picture that you sent me from 1968 that your dad took from the helicopter. This house right here, I don't know if you can see it. Is this the house that you lived in? This up here?
No, well, we lived in the top of the marina. So upstairs, downstairs was the lounge. With the crooked, they had the crack in the floor. The floor was crooked, and upstairs was it was 3 bedrooms, little small bedrooms, a kitchen, and a little living room, and that's where we lived upstairs for many years. Yeah, and Dad was still in the Navy in the beginning. And my mother she was a dental hygienist, and she worked in Foley. So they both worked 24/7. People, when I tell them I grew up in a marina, they think, oh, that had to be fun. It was just like being on a farm. I mean, we never stopped working. Storms were coming. You had to get out and check the boats. And I was the gas pump boy for forever. So
there was fuel.
Incredible.
There was fuel back then.
Yeah, sure was. Yeah. And of course, the Bear Point Pier there was a connection from the marina to the pier, and it was just traffic back and forth. People were coming up to the marina to get Cokes and snacks, and we sold Stewart sandwiches. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it was like a little oven. You'd pop in this little sandwich, and it was in a little plastic bag, and we had the pickled eggs, and of course we had cold beer. We had pool tables, and my dad found these old ship ship's doors. They were looks like, of course, we call it epoxy now, but it was resin. But it was like an old door off a ship, and we had all those in there. And it was a neat atmosphere. My mom, she loved to decorate. She did some stuff on the outside, and we had rattan wicker rugs all over the floor, and it was a neat place. We had a jukebox, and all night, when Dad's back there tending bar after he's been, at the Navy base all day, I always sat on top of the jukebox, and I'd get in trouble a lot of times because I'd be, rapping to the music, of course, all 70s music, which is still in my heart probably from that, but just an incredible place to grow up.
Well, what did you think about New Jersey to Orange Beach, Alabama?
Well, my memories of New Jersey are really faint. I don't really remember much at all, because we were living with my grandparents when Dad was in Vietnam, and then of course he made that, he got stationed. He came home for a little bit, and then got stationed right down to Pensacola, and then acquired the marina very, very soon thereafter. So, and I think he had another year or so left in the Navy, and then of course he got out at that point. So, and then at that point he opened up the boat sales, which was in, I think, 74. He opened the boat sales showroom, which is now where the parking lot is, across the street. And we had, believe this or not, we were number, I think, 3 or 4 in the nation on Mercury Motor outboard sales down there in Little Bear Point, Alabama.
I want to show. Okay, so if you can see my cursor, like this part right here, I just find fascinating. There's nothing there, like there is now. So I'm going to show you a picture of it now from Google.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So it was just this part, and it wasn't even like there weren't that many boats in here, and there weren't that many like big boats in there at all. And but all this, I don't know when it was added. Maybe Craig knows, but that's an amazing difference. So and then here's a picture that Craig sent.
Oh,
and this is recent because I can tell.
Wow.
I can see Craig's boat right there, so I know this is a recent picture. And
that's a great shot. Yeah, we did have some. We had tin sheds, the boat sheds, covered slips, and we did have some big boats. Because me and my buddies, we'd camp out, and then we'd always sneak into the boats at night. So something fun and mischievous to do as a youngster.
What were you doing on the boats at night?
We were looking for alcohol. That's when I was like, 8 or 9. So,
I did things like that. Yeah. So, Craig, what do you think about that price?
We did a little bit worse than that, I'm afraid.
120,000. I'm a real estate agent, and I can look back at the records that we have that we pay for in our dues and everything, and it only goes back to 95. And I couldn't find anything. I did find one thing online. I did a chat GPT, and it said it was built in 52. And I tried the city of Orange Beach, and they said that supersedes the city of Orange Beach, which was in 84. Sure. So I tried Baldwin County, and they said you need to contact help me out here, U.S. Corps of Engineers, and look for the dredging permit date. I don't have it.
Yeah, the dredging didn't happen until probably until its 68 edition when they cut the basin in, or somewhere in there. But I've seen a picture from probably 1920s of a Bear Point Marina sign with a wooden gate. I mean, like, it's been here there's been a marina here for a long time. I don't think it was in its present form, but of course, yeah.
I wonder if it was there. I wonder if it was.
Yeah, it was the same place, but the basin that we have cut in, the L-shaped part that comes in from the bay now, from Monica Bay, it probably ended. It probably began in some form from there, but I've never seen that. But
yeah, interesting, huh?
So you think that? I wonder when the permits, all that, having to have a permit to dredge and all that. I don't know when that started. If that's in the
I would
60s before?
I would imagine that they didn't have a permit,
No,
back then. They probably just dug it out,
that's
It's
right.
like, yeah. We there
Okay.
was a few other marinas, around that we had, Sportsman's Marina, which was interesting. I had one of my best buddies today, we were the same age, and his parents were running Sportsman's Marina. And then the Peters, they had the Orange Beach Marina, and we'd all, ride the bus together to, the bus would come
I
pick
found
us
a
up.
date
And
for that one, 1978, I believe, Orange Beach Marina.
okay, yeah, yeah,
But I
and
did not realize Sportsman's had been there that long.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was, of course, totally different, obviously, but and they did the same thing. There was a house that and the marina. They sold fuel, they sold snacks and stuff like that. I don't know if they had a bar or a lounge like we did. Gulfgate had the lounge, which was real
I
close
remember
to it.
Gulfgate.
Yeah, yeah, that was the Sunday happening spot. With Kenny Stabler and all his buddies back in the day. Gulfgate was always going crazy. You'd see the Canal Road just lined up with cars, back in the '70s with Gulfgate just going crazy. But
I was here the
yeah,
night that it burned in the '90s, but
what's
yeah,
that?
I was here the night that it burned in the '90s.
Oh, really?
Happened to,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I
Goodness
forgot
yeah.
about
gracious.
that. Yeah, I've been here
Yeah,
since 1990, but yeah, I think I remember something about that.
yeah.
So, Craig, let's switch over to you. We're not done with you, Marcus, but
All right.
so you came down here looking for a trailer park to buy.
I did.
You
I had,
ended up with a marina.
yeah, my son had just gotten in the commercial real estate business, and he called me one morning. He said, "I found your trailer park." He said, "But it floats," and he was not wrong. It's the same thing, the same principle for sure. But
So
it's
you started in 2013 your search, and you actually ended up buying the marina in 2016, right?
that's right. Yeah, that's about right. So yeah,
And I have a story to tell about that. I came in to get some fuel at the dock, and I was like, "Well, who's this guy?" I thought, "Well, maybe he worked there." And you said, "No, I'm the new owner." I was like, "Oh," and you were very humble. You weren't insulted or anything, but you were there to help me with my fuel. And
that's right.
I had my boat. I was staying at Bear Point Marina at the time, and I didn't even know it was for sale. The guy before Ken, what was his
Nettles,
name?
Nettles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but did he have it for a year or less than a year?
a little over a year. I mean, like 14 months or something like that. So just and Robin Wade had it for many years before that, and I'm not sure. I think he's the one that did the renovations in '99 and that kind of thing. The major money that was spent in there. Um, but yeah, um, but yeah, I started out not knowing marina business at all, other than being a boater all my life. So it was an education. The learning curve was pretty steep, I can tell you. But
Yeah, tell about the experience when you bought it and what you were expecting when the day you showed up and what actually happened.
whew,
That's a good story.
well, so we went to closing on a Friday morning, about 11 o'clock, and the the previous owner handed me a really just a bag of keys, and I mean, like a Ziploc bag full of stuff. And that was about it. And said, I said, "Are we going to meet at the marina?" I had some understanding that we were going to. We didn't really write down exactly what we were going to do, and I really didn't know what to ask. I made a lot of assumptions, probably. But anyway, I said, "Are we going to meet down this afternoon?" He said, "Oh yeah, we're going to go get some lunch, and then I'll see you this afternoon." And so my son and I went after closing, got some lunch in Fairhope, and it was where closing was, and so. Meandered down here and got to the marina, and there was nobody. It was a ghost town. There was all the lights were off. There was a sign on the door that said closed for inventory, and um, the I was like, this isn't good. And so I run into some guy in the parking lot who turned out to be a liveaboard guy down here that just kind of
Who was that?
John. Dang, I
John.
can't remember his last name, but anyway.
I remember John. Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the first person I ran into. I said, you seen the previous owner? He goes, or seen Ken, and he goes, you probably won't see him. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, he's already come and gone.
Oh, I lost
You
your
know,
sound.
how in the
Oh, now
world
you're
does that
back.
work? And so,
So John knew that it was
I'm
for sale?
sorry, yeah, he did. He was one of the
Okay.
few. It was not on the market for long. It came up like on a Friday morning. We had it under contract on Monday, so it was
Wow.
quick. And so and it was never really officially hit the MLS anyway because there was a kind of a preemptive, like just a email blast to all the agents in Baldwin County, and my son was on that list, and so that's how he knew about it. So
I
that's
missed it.
yeah, it was quick. I mean, we had it nailed down pretty quick. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, so did that, and then but anyway, so I walked in, or I go to the door. The door's locked. The sign on the door says closed for inventory. All the lights are off. I mean, I was there 2 days before that, and they had a cute little perky blonde behind the counter. There was a dock hand, and lights were on. And they were selling beer. They were doing all their stuff, and everything looked great. I'm like, I'm get here Friday after closing. I'll introduce myself. We'll roll on, and pick these people up and
It was supposed to
start.
be kind of a handoff. Oh, let me
It
show
was
you how things work and all
they
that.
were they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
It turned out that the cute little perky blonde was the son's girlfriend, who was the dock hand, and I didn't know
Yeah.
that either. And anyway, there was a lady that I'd never seen before behind the counter, and she told me who she was. She was paid out for the rest of the day. She used to be she used to work in the store and help run the marina. She'd been there for several years, but I'd never seen her before.
And she
And
quit shortly after
she
Ken
quit.
bought it.
Yeah,
I was
she
like, "Where's Sherry?" Oh, she didn't like
didn't
the
last.
new
Yeah,
situation, and so
she
she
didn't.
left.
That's
Then
exactly right.
she popped up. I guess Ken said, "Hey, can you come help the new owner?"
That's exactly right.
And
Well, he didn't even do that. All he wanted to do was get her to close his books out so he could
oh, okay.
close and leave. And so that's what he did. And he anyway, so she was paid till 5 o'clock. This was about 3:30. And I said, well, how would you feel about working here for a while? And we had this mutual job
That
interview.
was the
I've
right
never.
person, Marcus. That was the
Oh,
right person to be there. She
oh
knew
yeah,
how to.
she was absolutely. She knew where all the skeletons were. She knew how everything worked. We were out of fuel. She knew who to call. I mean, we had
Yeah.
we had more stuff like that. I had no idea. I thought I was going to have some on the job training from this guy that I didn't see for another 2 months. By the way,
Goodness gracious.
and we
He
were out of
got his check
fuel.
and he was hit for the hills.
He was, man. He'd had enough. And so yeah, I called Davidson Fuel. Um, no account set up, no nothing, no credit card number, no nothing, and said, "Hey, we are out of fuel. I need to tomorrow's Saturday, and we need to, we can't be out of gas."
Right.
And they sent us 10,000 or 8,000 gallons of. They sent us 8,000 gallons of fuel with nothing, and got us out of the hole. We did it all
With no
out the next
payment.
week, but
Oh my God.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm like, so anyway, so needless to say, they're still our fuel supplier and will be.
There you go. Yeah.
You made it
We had
happen. You and God was shining, was looking down on you when He sent
ab-
Sherry up there. Because I
absolutely
hadn't
no.
seen her in a long time. I was glad she came back. I was
Yeah,
so happy.
she was gone for a year or more, and a little over a year. And so no, but she was the right person. It was absolutely a God thing, and she agreed to work for 2 years, and she's still here, and it's been 8. And so
Oh, wow. That's
so
awesome.
Wow,
she
8
really
years.
is unbelievable work ethic, unbelievable person.
She runs a
She's
tight
been.
ship.
She does. She does. She, which makes up for me because I don't. I need I need management. So anyway, she's been super. The community's been fantastic. It's all been an amazing experience, given where I started and not knowing more than I did. So I've been very blessed for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
you worked in demolition and waste management?
Yeah, we had a landfill, roll-off container company, that kind of thing, building demolition, environmental contracting, that kind of thing. Um,
Well, that
is
kind of seems like you'd be ready for anything if you.
well
That's
after. Well, it has been. I mean, the experience I've had with the electrical stuff and just the construction background that I've had has kind of led. I mean, I kind of keep the wheels glued on, I guess, down here. So
There you go.
so that's worked. It's been good.
all right. Let's go back to old. I didn't mean that, Marcus.
Hey, I just turned 60, so watch out.
I'm right behind you. So let's just look at. I want to show some of these historic. Now, tell me what's going on in this picture. This is really cool. So this is the building you lived in. Is that right?
Upstairs, see the two windows, and then the outboard motors to the right, which was just a plastic motor that Mercury.
Oh, I see
sent
it
us
right there.
for advertising. Yeah. But those two windows that was the living room, and then directly behind that was the kitchen, which looked out of the other side of the marina, out on the road, and to the left was my bedroom, and then to the right was a little guest room, and then my mom and dad's room. And in the staircase,
is any part of this still here, Craig and Marcus?
I don't know, but I do know that when I walk into that space, the space feels the same. The
Really?
size, the feel. Of course, whenever we would go upstairs, we wouldn't enter upstairs the way it is now. We would go, I guess, where the kitchen is. That's where we would go upstairs. To get upstairs. Yeah. And then there was a side door that would go outside. So, and then outside to the right, we actually raised pigeons. So we had a big pigeon coop out there, and but yeah, and of course then the piers right down below it.
Well, back in 2000, I haven't told Craig this. I got married, and so my shower, my bridal, it was 2000. My bridal shower was in the upstairs room at the restaurant. So is that where you lived?
Yes. Well,
oh my God.
The bar that's up there now, that's, that I guess would have
I haven't been up there in years, so I don't know what's up there now.
Now that
Craig, am I right?
looks completely different up there than the downstairs is similar in design or but the upstairs was completely, there definitely some modifications.
It was an apartment.
That happened. Yes,
or was
definitely
a house.
Modifications. Yeah, and the ceilings were taller. Ceilings were real low. I remember that. And of course, we didn't have. I think when we got there, I don't think we had air conditioning for a while, so we had the windows open. And I tell you, you want to go to sleep. Just listen to those barges going up and down the bay at night would just put me right to sleep. That is still one of my favorite sounds ever, to hear a tugboat at night, and it's just so soothing. So,
who do you recognize these boats here?
No, I don't. Not then, because we were there for a little while, I guess, because I think when we first got there, we did not have the Mercury dealership. So that was probably, 70, maybe 69, 70, probably in that shot. And then this is a shot of across the street. We had a big metal showroom.
This is him. This is him right here, Craig.
That's me. Yeah. My mom, my dad, my sister. And we carried, 27 different brands. We had Mako, Aquasport. We had the Ski Nautique. We had Checkmate, Hydrostream. Those were go fast boats. And a lot of people came to us because we had some really good boat riggers, and we would rig up a go fast. So you take a Hydrostream with of course, nowadays the motors are huge, but, put a 150 on a little, 14, 15 foot Hydrostream, and had the hot foot and the jack plates. And so it was kind of a thing we were known for back in the day, which of course Kenny Stabler, his crew would come down there. That brought us a lot of publicity, and a lot of his friends and other people would come down. And then we also had the Indian motorcycle franchise.
I was going to say those are.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Wow.
Those are dirt bikes. So Indian as a street bike, but at some point they might have gotten acquired by AMF or somebody else at that time, but they did have the dirt bikes. And of course, all the roads down there were all dirt, all just red clay roads. And I had the Indian 50 and Indian 80. You said it was a fun life. It was a lot of fun, and it was, matter of fact, hard becoming an adult after that. But it was a lot of work. I always, that was my first boat, and me and my buddies would get in that thing, and I'd get in trouble all the time because we would be in the middle of the boat basin paddling around, and the boats are trying to navigate around us, and but yeah, that was just an old wooden boat. Dad, I don't know, maybe he acquired it with the marina, and it wound up being my first boat. But
so you didn't have an engine?
No, just the paddles. You see my two. That's Tommy and George Whittle. They're my motor. And then Corky is the guy in the back. And I cannot believe I remember their names when I found this picture the other day. It just come flooding back to me. And but no, that was paddle power. Or we'd throw the anchor,
paddle power,
and then pull it. Throw the anchor, pull it. That was another way to get around. But
so Craig, this is where your boat is now. Isn't that incredible how different that looks?
Yeah, it is. It really is crazy.
And my boat's right over here somewhere.
Yep.
And look, here's the Bear Point. I guess that launch was there.
The boat launch. Well, I know we had a boat launch in the marina as well. And
oh, really?
Yeah, that was one of my jobs. It was we had a sign up, $1.50 to launch. And if I wanted to make extra money, I would just go down there and collect, and I would keep the 50 cents. That was part of mine and my dad's deal. So because a lot of people wouldn't, they wouldn't put any money in the box. But I know
if you were standing there, they had to.
Yeah, they had to. And of course, they want me to help them. I'm going, no, I'm just here to collect the money. So, but
so
the other
it was part of your property, Craig.
Yeah.
Is that you? So they did somebody sold it?
I'm not sure what
within the basin.
Yeah, I'm not sure at what point that became. I think initially it was part of the marina property, but it got deeded to the BPCA at some point, I think. Am I right about that, Marcus? Or
gosh, we back then, being younger, I always just assumed it was all of ours. Even that, the piece across, the basin where all the sand is over there, which
right.
I never knew it wasn't ours, but I think a sliver of it was. But yeah. But
look at that. Okay.
Isn't it something? My mom made me wear that ski vest, so that little ski thing to keep me from drowning. But I took it off as soon as she turned her back. So
yeah, I don't see it on you there.
Yeah.
You were a cute little fella, by the way.
Well,
look at this. This is your grand. Okay, check this out. Motorcycle helmets, regularly $31.95. Grand opening special, $15.99.
$15.99. Yeah, we sold those ski barges, which were neat boats. Of course, the motorcycles. We had Sunfish. We had Hobie Cat. So I learned to sail. As a youngster. I still today. I don't know any nautical sailing terminology, but I can take a catamaran and fly the hull all the way across the bay. But I because we just didn't know. We just took the boat and went sailing. So we had airboats. We didn't get into any of the big boats, but just usually anywhere from up in the upper 20s. The Aqua Sports and Makos, they got a little bit bigger. But yeah, we had a very successful business. And then one of the challenges we ran into was after Frederick in '79. Of course, we had a lot of recovery. There was a lot of damage. And then, of course, the economy, when Jimmy Carter was in office, there was a lot of excise taxes on fuel, luxury taxes. And so that was a combination of those things, the economy, the hurricane, that's when we put the marina up for sale. And when it was sold, I was like, well, now what am I supposed to do? That was what I was going to do for my life. And this entire interview was a little emotional because my wife just tells me to get a grip, but because it was such a, to not have it anymore, for it not to be part of our life, was really, really devastating for us. And it was
you were about 16 when I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 17, and it was like that was the plan, and so such is life, right? Every plans change. That's my dad to the right, my grandfather to the left, and that's me and my dog. And then that was a boat Dad had in New Jersey. It was the first fiberglass lures. and it delaminated like a, it was horrible. It didn't last too long, but it was a charter boat, and we chartered it. Captain Gaston Hunter, who lived down there in Bear Point, he was our captain. And I would be the mate, but I was a horrible mate because I just wanted to fish. I didn't understand I was supposed to be working. So Captain Hunter, he told my dad, he said, you better get your boy in line. He's not going back out with me anymore because he's fishing over the customers. But, I'm slow. So it took me a while to figure it out, but I finally got there. But
wow. Again, you were really cute. So how old were you there? About
gosh,
10
probably maybe 7, 8, maybe. 8 or 9.
So
Something
73,
like that.
70, well, 72, something like that. 1970.
Yeah.
Okay. And here's Stan Kruk and his wife Dee announced the Dockside Club. And what is the Dockside Club?
That's not really ringing any bells. I guess it might have been just the bar inside the marina. Because we really got it. It was a hot spot back in the day. Everybody down there, of course, just like it is today. Everybody would come down there, and I don't know, you guys probably know this, but there was a big crack in the floor. All the way down east to west was a big crack, and you'd walk in.
Is the crack still there, Craig?
No.
Did you ever hear about the crack, Craig?
I never did. No.
Really? Yeah, so it was a big thing. Even when I run into people, from the day, they talk about that. Yeah, it was a significant crack in the floor. It all tilted towards the boat basin.
Wow.
So the structure got affected by when did that come about?
No, don't know. So it was there when we bought it. So it was just part of it, and we just let it
worked around it.
Yeah, worked around. It was a good place to stump your toe because nobody wore shoes back then, right?
Wow.
So,
yeah, I guess they made you fix that. Let's see. You have any other than Frederick? Did you have any memorable hurricanes experiences?
There really wasn't any. I know, everybody would talk about Camille and then Frederick, and that was really it. We never really had anything other than those two. And you
were there. You didn't really get it bad for Camille, though, did you?
No, we weren't there for Camille, right? Because Camille was what, 60?
Well, it was 69. It was
69. Yeah. 10 years later,
but it was
79 for Frederick. Yep.
Right.
So no, we didn't really feel anything from that, but no, I don't really. Never was ever really tuned into the fact that we were in a place that had hurricanes until Frederick. And then, obviously there it was. But I remember we came down Canal Road and we turned to come down to the marina, and the water was up about more than halfway up the road. It was up that high. And but not a lot of damage to the marina. We lost all the tops of all the the boat sheds. But that was really about it in damage. So yeah, we weathered fairly well. During
what about the boat? What about the boats that were in there?
Boats did fine. Yeah, boats did good. But that's I don't remember any boats. Then again, back I was maybe 16 then, or maybe no. I don't. But I don't remember anything with. I do remember all the metal, tops of all the boat sheds were all gone, and a lot of work.
So there were tops, like people. There were covers over the slips?
Yes, we had covered slips. Sure did. Yeah.
Wow. Did you know that, Craig?
Yeah, I did. I knew somebody had a boat, or their grandfather had a boat in here in the early 70s.
The name of the boat by any chance?
Dean Stewart.
Dean Stewart.
Was his name.
Was it the Marco?
I don't know it may have been. It was a trawler. And I've got a picture of the little monkey, the little spider monkey that y'all had on the counter going through the cabinets.
Yeah, well, the monkey, because I hated that monkey. The monkey. We whenever we built the showroom across the street, we leased out the lounge, and then we also had a mechanic shop on property, and we leased the mechanics leased that out. And the people that leased the lounge had the spider monkey. But Craig, okay. I think that's the boat. It was a trawler style wooden. It was called.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mr. Stewart, I think he had one arm.
That's possible. I don't know. I really don't. I'm not sure.
I think he was missing an arm, but that was the, I was getting a little older then, and that was where we would camp out, and in all the little hoodlums down in Bear Point, we'd all gather down there and had so much fun.
Well, what was it like back there in the neighborhood at that time? I know it used to be just pretty much, and in the time I've been here since 1990, I've seen it change drastically from trailers to now a lot more houses and trailers.
It was rough. It was. I told this to my landscaper. He installed some yucca plants around my barn, and I said, I didn't want yuccas because we had in the pool tables, a lot of the guys that were coming in there, they would try to rig the pool tables to get free pool. You'd put a matchstick in the thing and push it in, and the balls would come out. So I told Dad, and then the next night, here's these teenagers grabbing me, and they were hanging me over the yucca plants, and yucca plants don't feel good. But the boat rigger and the boat mechanic came and kicked the crap out of them. So I was good there for a while. But it was a rough place. You hear stories of like Billy Walker and Butch Frith, and those guys were.
I've heard about the Friths.
Those are some characters. If they wanted ice and nobody was there, and if the ice machine wasn't a machine, but the ice maker had a lock on it, they would pop the lock off with a crowbar. I mean, it was, and there were no police. There were no cops at all down there at all. So
right.
There was no law enforcement whatsoever. We had to enforce our own place, and we had some tough guys though. Right? We had a couple really tough boat riggers, a mechanic and an assistant mechanic, and so we had some. But it was our own police force to prevent theft or prevent.
So the boat owners would come out there and take care of whatever problems.
Yeah, we did. But it was a rough place. It was. I would probably never consider myself a fighter, but growing up down there, you had to, because it was interesting. But a lot of the people that were there, they were coming in from mainly, I would say Central Alabama South was a lot of the trailers and a lot of the homes. It was just a getaway for people that they
so
had
it was a lot of second homes. I was imagining like fishermen and stuff that lived back there.
It wasn't. I don't know who built that down there or created those roads or really try to market it or promote it, but it was really all second homes. I had hundreds of friends that would come down, and in the summertime it was so much fun. We'd all go down to the pier and hang out, but it was very few permanent residents, mainly people just coming in, and but even the residents down there really weren't fishermen per se. I know we were known as a fishing community, but that's something that really didn't ever really, wasn't ever part of my thought process at the time. It was more farmers, and because we did so well with Mercury, it would be the farmers. They would come in because Foley and Robertsdale, Alberta, all the big farms that were down here, and they'd come in their overalls and reach in their pocket and pull out a big wad of cash and buy a Mercury motor or a boat or from Dad, and Dad was really a neat. He had a lot of following down there. People really loved Dad, and Dad loved everybody. And at the time we had plans. You'll enjoy this. We had plans at the time before Frederick. Dad had all this in works to move the road behind where the parking lot is now.
Yep.
And then we were going to do dry storage, and we were going to do a couple condos, and then we were going to get into some different boat lines. But then that's when Frederick hit, and then the economy, and then so all that never happened. But that was the future plans we had for it at the time.
Well, when I looked at the county website, because being a realtor, I noticed that parking lot is deeded to Bear Point Harbor LLC, and I was wondering if that road had been added, like if it had all been one big piece of property ever, or was it like acquired or something?
Yeah, no, we cleared that off to build because I remember the trees over there. There's a road behind it. It's really just like it is now. Other than that was just all wooded, and then we cleared it off to build.
But you bought that. Your dad bought the property with
I don't think he bought it with the marina. I think he acquired it after.
Okay.
But I'm
All
not
right.
100% sure.
What do you know, Craig?
My understanding is one of the paper companies, one of the large paper companies, is who originally developed the 50 by 100 foot lots, laid the roads out, and they were
Okay.
dirt back then. And so I think that's where all the Central Alabama people came from. They were like it was almost it was developed there really for workers and to have fishing places and that kind of thing for the workers of the paper mill.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and so a lot of the management types had places down here and that kind of thing, and other people as well. But that's what I've heard. But who knows?
Yep. I think you're spot on. That's the way I always understood it to be, because it was a lot of plant workers. But I tell you, you're talking about shrimping and fishing and floundering, and it was so much of that going on. I mean, it was water skiing. It was but small boats. It still today blows my mind when I cruise to Arctic Bay heading over. If we weren't going to want to go down to Pensacola Pass, and how rough it is out there now, and it just but never was. I had a little B craft. It was a little I don't know, maybe a 13-14 foot B craft, a little 10 horse Mercury on the back, and I was only allowed to run inside the boat basin until I would go so fast, and then the boats would rock, and then they'd complain to Dad. Dad finally said, "Okay, get out in the bay," which is my plan all along. But I could take that little boat anywhere. I could go over to head out to
Oh my
Alabama
gosh.
Point, and of course I wasn't good on fuel management. So many times I came home with that 5 gallon tank over my head, draining all the fuel down to get home. But yeah, it was. But I think
Where
you're
did you
right.
go to school? Where did you go to
Foley.
school?
Yeah, I went to Foley High School, and it's so funny. People, I'll run into them, and go, "Oh yeah, I grew up down there." I'm going, "Well, when?" And they tell me, I'm like, "Well, I didn't see you on the bus." And they, "Oh no, my grandfather had a place, and I went to McGill or I went here." I'm like, "Okay,
Oh,
you didn't
oh,
really live down here."
yeah.
But there was a handful of us. There was like I said, all the marina, the folks, the Gulf Gate Lodge, which is the McCarrans, and then Sportsman's the Adams, and then Orange Beach was the Peters. That bus was not even. It wasn't a shore bus. It was a bit full size bus, but it wasn't even halfway full. And they would go
Then
all the
you
way
had
to
to go the
Foley.
swing bridge in Gulf Shores with all those
You know,
all
and
those
you know what? That's something I don't remember. I don't remember the swing bridge in Gulf Shores. I know I did. I know it went over, but I just
Yeah.
don't remember it. But I do remember the one over there towards the one at Alabama Point, because Dad being in the Navy when we first got there, he would actually when I first went to school, I went to St. Benedict's, because he would take me that way over through Alberta, drop me off, and then he would go to the Naval Air Station.
It was a
And he would
long
get,
ride to school.
yeah, and he would, of course, we'd get caught on that bridge sometimes, and he would, being in the Navy, you have to be punctual. So I remember him speeding down that road, at high speeds to get me to school, and then to get to the base. But yeah,
What a
yeah.
chore to get to school. I mean,
Oh gosh, and Foley, going to Foley on the bus, you get in that hot bus and come all the way to Bear Point. By the time you got home, you were exhausted. You were
yeah.
dehydrated, and of course,
Well,
nobody knew the word hydration back then, right? So
right. Yeah, nobody drank water. But when
yeah,
I moved here in 90, there were no lights. In 1990, there were no lights between Gulf Shores and Foley. I mean, you could just drive.
yeah.
It was awesome.
And speaking of water, we would get our water. It was a well pump behind which is the keg now, but that was the post office. And we would go there and fill gallon jugs, and that was our drinking water. And then we had fresh water from a well there, but it was so acidic or tannic that everybody that lived down there, or even vacation down there, white T-shirts were popular back then. Everybody had orange T-shirts, because when you wash your clothes, that water would turn all your white stuff orange. But you
Oh
could
my
tell anybody
gosh.
that lived down there. But that's when I tell people that's where we'd go get our drinking water, they go like, "No, they wouldn't. They don't believe me." But it's
All the
like, yeah,
time? I mean,
no, that's the water we drank. We would have to go there we would fill up 4 or 5 gallons of water at a time, But then whenever city water came in, and I don't remember when that was, But of course that went away. But it was probably late '70s, mid to late '70s, I would
Well, the
imagine,
city
when we
of
got.
Orange Beach formed in '84. So I don't know if it was,
Yeah,
I don't know if it coincided with that.
it was definitely before then when we had
Okay.
not non-well water. So yeah.
So I want to ask Craig that we talked about Frederick. Now let's talk about Sally. That was your introduction to marina ownership.
Yeah,
Well, just a few years after.
yeah.
So
We had a few little practice sessions with some tropical storms and that kind of thing, and some near misses. But yeah, that one was
right.
pretty real. Yeah. Um,
So
we got off light though.
you had already started making some upgrades before
Exactly.
the
Yeah,
storm.
we had done a lot of dock rebuild and that kind of thing. Really, the things that got destroyed and carried off were things that needed to be torn out anyway and replaced. And it was the timetable was a little pushed up from what I was planning, and but it all worked. I mean, we really got off light. We lost the docks, we didn't lose many of the pilings, um, and so we were able to just go redock everything for the most part. Um, it was a big cleanup. I mean, it took us a year really to get it all back together. But we were operational by March, by the beginning of the next season, um, and we were really the first ones to do that. I mean, everybody else could afford to miss the season. I guess I couldn't. So um, we dove in and got it done. But
How did
um,
the restaurant and the dock store do?
they probably about 4 feet of water in each one, and so, or right at 3 feet anyway, and breaking waves on top of that. But we did some innovative things. I don't know. We tore things out. We tore things out pretty quickly and um, got our just tried to stabilize everything as well as we could. The electrical systems and that kind of thing. I did some things that I never thought I'd do. We rented a water trailer from United Rentals. They ended up getting a bunch of equipment to us pretty quickly after the storm, and we pulled all the breakers out and rinsed everything down with fresh water. All the breakers, which are still operational today, and we doused them all. We washed them out with fresh water, and then we coated everything in WD-40. And by the time they put the power back on, we put them back into the boxes, and they're rolling. So I don't know how
And
many more times
obviously
they'll do that.
passed city inspection.
Yeah, well, it didn't change anything. The boxes all made it, and all that stuff was fine. So it
Wow.
was but yeah, it was a lot. I mean, we really got off being on the north side of the island. We ended up sheltered somewhat. We got a lot of east, and west, but we didn't get that southern exposure that Sportsman and all those guys really got hit with, and Barber even.
That's where I was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
just moved over there from Bear Point.
that's
I bought
right.
a
Yeah,
slip, and then right next to Sportsman's at Messabout Marina.
yep,
And about a month and a half later, here comes Sally.
yeah. It it was interesting, but I'm going to tell you the coolest thing about that, and in this community. Um, I'm so thankful to to live where I live. We as soon as the water went down, we had good people that kind of suggested that we have rental equipment there. So had a long list of stuff. United Rentals got it right down here. I was kind of the head of the list because we just moved. It was suggested that we get those things on site, and so we ended up getting everything before everybody kind of started putting their orders in, and so like on the Friday after the storm hit on Tuesday, the water went down. Everybody cleaned up their 50 by 100 foot lot. We had probably 40 people or 50 people from the community that showed up with shovels and brooms and whatever. And by the weekend, it really didn't look like anything had happened. I mean, like in some areas of the marina, it didn't look so hard hit. Like the bar looked like it was ready to open. Those kinds of things and these people just showed up, and it's amazing. We had people from that have got places there from Michigan that drove down and jumped in, and the charter guys in the marina down here, and incredible community. And nobody expected anything out of it. It was their place. They take ownership of it somewhat, and they take, they want to see it thrive, which is, it's an incredible partnership that we have with this community, and I love it. It's been
awesome.
a great.
Well,
deal.
I know that was
awesome.
one of the questions I wanted to ask you. So that just happened. You didn't request help. It just happened.
No, they showed up. I mean, what can we do?
Incredible.
Just a pile of people do. But there were people they would go buy 30 pizzas and ride around and give it to whoever's working in the neighborhood, clean it up. I mean, it was just the whole effort was just neighbors helping neighbors, people showing up, loaning generators, and I had people drive over. My brother drove over from Destin with a big cooler of beer and water and ice and a big generator and a bunch of stuff, and dropped it off. And we had several people do those kinds of things that were just so nice, and it just was thoughtful. I mean, it really was and it just one of those things I tend to pay back. We have to think about that when another area is hit, that we have a connection with or whatever, to dive in and help that way. It's just such a blessing.
Well, I know that you've done something recent, that the Bear Point, help me out here, the launch area, you've loaned some of your property, haven't you?
We have it. I mean, it was that boundary layer, that just the setback, around that we owned, that really was kind of we were maintaining it, but we didn't really use it. It was too narrow of a strip to do a whole lot of good, but it was an extra bunch of parking spaces for golf carts and that kind of thing. And we have an excellent relationship with the leadership of the Bear Point Civic Association, and they're, we work together on all these things, and we did, take the fence down and let them, rock all the way to the dock. Which we're not having to mow much rock, so this the grass being gone doesn't hurt my feelings.
Isn't that nice, Marcus?
Yeah, that was such a nice, the flow that would go from the marina down to the association pier, and I remember the fence being there. When I saw that fence, it was like, oh no, because it was such a symbiotic relationship. I mean, everybody just went back and forth. That's awesome. You guys did that. That really is.
Yeah, now you can walk right from my boat slip. I can walk right out there.
Yeah,
I'm not going to trespass, but I could.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. It's open. That it's and nobody, the marina people especially, they've worked great. The Civic Association we really have gotten along great, and worked together on a ton of stuff, and it's really just there's synergy.
Nice?
It's so nice. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, that's super.
You don't often see that. I mean, I'm in real estate. I know a lot of HOAs are always fighting with people.
That's right. Yeah.
So
that's awesome, Craig.
So that was like 4 years after you bought the marina.
Yep.
When all the people came to help. So did that just solidify, like, wow, I'm in the right spot?
Yeah, I already knew I was, but that nailed it home. It drove it home for sure. It's been this community that when I bought the marina, I looked at the numbers, and I looked at and I'd been through here, buying fuel since the late '90s, and that kind of thing. Kind of been eating in the restaurants here that were here through the years, that kind of thing, and so it worked financially. I had no idea what was behind us over here. I didn't know anything about the neighborhood, and man, what a gem! This place is a place to live. It's fantastic. It's it really is just it's a great community. And really everybody gets along, and it works. They don't get along all the time, but it gets worked out. People are people, but and not everybody's on the same page all the time. But it's the best community I've ever lived in. So
yeah. For sure.
That's great. You're a great leader there.
Yeah,
so
you are.
Tell us about the OSO transition.
Well, we just kind of looked around a little bit. And Tyler Keene was a friend of mine. He owned the the Fairhope Inn for about 20 years, and that was one of my favorite places to eat in Fairhope. And I went and talked to him. It was kind of a weird deal. I went and talked to him, just kind of doing some exploring, as what else we might do um, here with, just a different vision and a different,
Yeah, there was
different
flippers
set of eyes
there.
on it. Yeah,
And I
flippers,
guess
and
I can't remember how long they were in there.
they were there for about, I guess about 9 years. I think they opened in 2009 or so, and I think we changed out. Well, I guess 11 years. Um, 19 was their last season. Um, anyway, we just kind of wanted a fresher start, a fresher take on the deal, and I knew Tyler would run a tight ship, and knew that he did.
Yeah, I just ate there like a week ago, and it was wonderful. It's very different than from
Every
from
time I've
before.
eaten there with you since you've had it, it's been awesome.
Well,
Oh,
glad to
stay
glad to
there.
hear that. But we anyway, yeah, Tyler, and that was another God thing. I went and talked to Tyler, and he said, "Yeah, I'm interested. This sounds like fun. I'm tired of the white tablecloth and the wedding things, and I mean all that kind of stuff." And said, so he was kind of interested in doing something after 20 years, doing something a little different and something more casual and that kind of thing. And so, um, and anyway, he called me about a week and a half after that, and he said, "Hey, I hope you were serious about this deal, because I just had a lady walk in here and make me an offer on the end that I can't refuse." And so,
Oh,
I'm like, well, come on. So we'll figure it out. So
so did he have Oh So Early first? I was really sad that
no,
they closed, but
yeah, well, we tried to move the breakfast thing down here to replace that, and they, I don't know why it has not, like, I think they had more volume down there for sure than we've had with the breakfast thing up here. Maybe it just takes a while to build into a new place, but
was that
yeah,
that was Tyler's?
yeah. So, but he did Oso here. He did the restaurant here, and we opened it in 2020, and then I guess it was 22 or so when he opened Oso Early. So,
Oh, okay.
and so
I thought
I
it
didn't
was the
have any
reverse
involvement.
order.
No, I
Okay.
did. No,
Well, it
Oso
was the
Early was
best
just what it
Spanish
was.
omelet I've ever had in my life, and I wish, oh my god, I used to go there just for that. It was so delicious.
Yeah, they changed the
Bring it
menu
back.
fairly often. I'll mention that to them. So they do change it a
Yeah.
pretty good bit, and so it just you may see it again. I don't know. But anyway,
All right. So let's see. What? Okay, you've changed that whole section there into commercial,
yeah.
and I'm sure that was a very smart business decision. I'm sure. So how's that going over with all the business there and everything? I'm not going to
Um,
ask for your P&L sheet or anything, but
I'm on a call. Okay.
I think everybody's doing well. Of course, we had some record years during
Yeah.
COVID.
Hey,
You,
this is I got a surprise guest. He's just going to say, "Hey, this is Wade Ward."
oh my gosh,
Hey,
Wade,
Wade, can you
Wade,
get
I
in?
interviewed your son. I
He
want to
can't hear
interview
you,
you.
but there's Wade.
But
He's my buddy. So all
tell
right, thanks.
him I want to. You got to get a commitment from him because I want to interview him. He's a
I
Gulf
will.
Shores
I'll come
historian.
see you. I'll come see you tomorrow. All right, buddy.
Yeah, you're gonna have
Oh,
to watch Joey's. I'll send you Craig
yes,
Joey's interview because he's such a character.
okay,
he is a
yeah,
character.
That's his dad right there.
okay,
So
great.
Dad's not the character. He's the dad. He's a good dad. He's an
well,
awesome
Joey's
dad.
got great stories about the different things that Wade accomplished here in Gulf Shores, and,
So many
Joey's a good
things.
storyteller.
Yeah, he is.
Good
So,
deal.
tell us about how you've increased the commercial business there.
We kind of just tried to maximize parking and maximize their space and make it a more comfortable, inviting place and more versatile. Really, the turning the what used to be the sandbox or whatever, that we that we use now for the green area out there, the turf area. And then shading all that has enabled us to use that for events as well as just even the people waiting to get on a dolphin cruise or a charter boat, or just a nice sitting area. It kind of expands. We did some things, changed the bar around last year, moved the stage to the other end, so there's more. Um, the way we had the bar done to start with, it kind of cut the audience in half. So we kind of swapped that up a little bit so that we're open up. It's kind of a challenge in space anyway because it's so long and skinny, and narrow. But I think we took a wall out and did, kind of increase visibility from the band out to the green space to the east down there, which enables us to have a larger crowd or more than one event going on. So we can have multiple things going on at once.
You got two stages, right?
Yeah, that's right. So that's working well. I mean, we have plans to kind of expand that or optimize it a little bit. Do some things like that.
And you move the regular boaters like people like me to the other side and maximize that space for commercial. I think that was this. That was very smart.
Well, by the time I got here, it was mostly commercial over there anyway. There were just a couple that we had to slide across. So
a couple of outlanders that were fighting the system, weren't they?
They were hanging in there, yeah.
They wanted to park right in front of their boat. I don't blame them. But I was talking, I can't remember his name. He's over there next to me now. He said that it's actually a lot more peaceful over there. There's not so many people walking by. So he was happy.
Good. I'm glad he is. Yeah, he was one of the holdouts. So anyway.
And then Marcus, in order to book those slips that are out there in the rocky area that gets from the waves from the he put, I don't know why I'm so halting. Help me out, Craig. You put lifts in.
We've got about 16 lifts in for smaller center console boats, which we were never able to lease those very effectively just because the water was so rough for the smaller boats.
Great idea. That's a great idea.
Wasn't that smart?
Yeah,
it's worked.
Sure
it's been good, and we've had a good response with that. A lot of people from the neighborhood. It's kind of like having access, like waterfront access to your boat, where all you do is have to go hit the switch, but you're not paying for waterfront property. So, but it's been a good fit here. It's been pretty well received. A little bit of a maintenance issue, but it survived. All that stuff survived Sally. We got it up out of the water, and it makes us a little more hurricane resistant, whatever.
I think that was really smart. He just he was having trouble renting them. Because the pools that come down the ICW creating.
We saw a lot of that this weekend. So Blue Angels is always it's my favorite weekend in a lot of ways, and not my favorite in that way. So
yeah. So what else are you doing out there? What have we not covered? What great ideas have you implemented or have in the future?
I don't know. We're kind of this year. We're kind of.
You got these shirts. You got these.
That's right.
The V-neck shirts.
Yeah. That was your request that we did.
I gotta come get one.
Yeah. Well, come on.
Yeah. The store looks great. Looks better than I've ever seen it. I always wanted to buy a shirt, but women like V-necks because it make no matter how fat you are, skinny you are, ugly, good looking, we look better in V-neck shirts. So I thank you, Craig. So anyway, you were going to say something about Sherry.
Yeah, no, that's the story of Sherry's ball game. She does a great job over there keeping us stocked and decorated, new inventory or new items in, and I don't know. She never quits moving. She's like a shark, But
well, you're smart enough to let her loose.
Oh,
let her go.
No, she's something. she's been a huge blessing. I can tell you, my greatest one, I think. But
Marcus, have you met Sherry?
I have not. No.
Yeah, you have to check her out. She's a character.
I'll have to.
She's another character.
She is a character.
She's in a great place then.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
A place. Marinas are always full of characters.
That's true.
So anything that you guys want to cover that we haven't, Marcus, you have any good stories you want to share with us that we
Gosh,
just can't live without?
oh, it's I just growing up. I'm you guys have all mentioned God a couple of times. It was just a true blessing to have grown up there and to have had that opportunity to to live in such an incredible place with so many incredible people. And it's something it's always near and dear to my heart. And it was near and dear to my dad's heart before he passed away, and my mom, and we just it's part of us. I mean, it's in our blood. And I'm so glad, Craig, that you're there, because you're very fitting. It's an honor to see you at the helm, and it makes me feel good. And it was an emotional thing when we left, and I had trouble going back for the longest time.
Yeah, I bet.
But now that you're there,
He's a good steward, isn't he?
It's almost closure for me, and that means a lot. So
see,
yeah.
right here on the Salty Podcast, these are the things that happen.
There you go.
Well, I guess that's it then. I hate to end it, but we have been on here for a little over an hour. I know you guys have things to do, but maybe we can do it again. Maybe there'll be some more stories, some more pictures when you get those. So just for the people that are watching, and this will be on audio podcast too, by the way, Spotify, all those, Apple. When Marcus has an attic full of slides, and one day he's going to go up in there and we're going to convert them to images, and maybe we can come back on here and we can show some more images, some historical photos.
I promise. I even found the projector. So whenever we sail here and we get into,
I haven't heard that in a while. Let's get the projector out.
Get the projector. I have to put a sheet up, I guess, to put it on there. I don't have that. But
put a sail up.
Yeah,
right. There you go. And so Craig can put.
Yeah.
Craig wants to put them out throughout, the restaurant and the dock store and everything. I think that would be an excellent touch.
Yeah.
Pictures of your dad and your mom and you and everything.
Yeah. I
love the history of it. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, for
all right.
Sure.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, you guys. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah. And you want to say something else?
Just saying, it's great being with you and hearing the stories and from Marcus and all that. A lot of fun. So thank you.
All right, guys. And the way I like to end my Salty Podcast is to say, Salty Abandon out.